Hey, so I thought I would make a little video. I've been thinking about intuition a lot today. I've been following my intuitive hits always, really, but extra reinvigorated to do so. And I have a favorite story about a dog and intuition I'd like to tell you about. So there was this dog that we foster cared for a while. His name was John, Long John, actually. He was truly an ugly dog. I mean, seriously ugly, but in a cute way, if you know what I mean. He was a mutt. He had a head of a Great Dane and kind of the body of a Great Dane, but he had the legs kind of a basset hound. I mean, he was big, and his legs were really, really small. And it was just he was a very strange, very odd looking dog. And he had been held in, let's call it a holding facility for quite some time, passed over for adoption and stuff. And we thought, we'll bring this dog home and let him just have some outside time with our other dogs, rehabilitate him a little bit, let him be outside. The place where he was didn't even have windows. They cared for him as best they could, but he was just in a kennel, concrete kennel. Been there so long, and he was a pretty good dog. He got along very well with our dogs. Every once in a while, he seemed to have a flash of a temper. It was minimal. It didn't really cause too much trouble. He seemed to sort of growl, but then get over it, and we didn't worry about it too much. And then something happened, and that something was that our daughter Lauren had given birth to our first grandchild, Theodore. So this is quite a while ago that all this happened, 9 years to be exact. And Lauren happened to be at our home with Theodore, who was, I don't know, maybe 3 months old at the time during this visit. And Lauren was walking through the room, Theodore over her shoulder like this, and he was just looking so cute, my grandson, and I came up behind Lauren and Theodore, and I just nuzzled and gave Theodore a kiss. At that time, Long John was at my feet, and he reacted to that in a very jealous way with a very ugly growl. And the mama bear in me instantly made the decision that dog had to go. Dog had to go. We were leaning towards, keeping him, and he'd been with us already for a number of months. Almost was treating him like our dog. But at that moment when I saw what set him off, that I was nuzzling this baby and that he would growl like that. I mean, this dog had jaws like, well, big jaws. So I called up the place where he'd come from, and I said, I'm bringing this dog back, and I'm bringing him back right now. I'm getting my keys in my purse, and we're on our way. And I hung up the phone, and I realized at that moment that I actually had another appointment that was supposed to happen in about an hour with some fencing dudes. And it didn't matter to me because that dog needed to leave immediately. Now, here's the interesting thing. We had outdoor dog kennels. I could have put Long John in an outdoor dog kennel, had the meeting, and delivered the dog later. My intuition said no. And as a matter of fact, I put the dog in the car. I started taking him back. And I called my husband, and I told him what I was doing. I said, this is what happened. I'm taking Long John back right now. And that's it. We're not keeping this dog. And I've never done that before, by the way, except for maybe with a couple of goats that I had to rehome. I've really never rehomed any animal. They've always been forever animals. And my husband, understandably, was quite upset. He said, what about the fence guys? We made this appointment a long time ago. I said, it doesn't matter. You can call and tell them I'm going to be later. We need to reschedule, but I'm doing this now. And he really argued with me. He goes, what's the difference? You could have just put him outside. I'm like, no, my intuition says take him back now. So I did, and I understood the logic in that. Why couldn't I have waited? Well, I'm glad I paid attention to my intuition. Why? Because I took the dog back, delivered him back to where he was. And what I found out subsequently the next day or so was 10 minutes after I brought Long John back, they hadn't even gotten him back into his kennel when some other people were in the facility for another reason, took one look at him and fell in love. They were there just randomly. They were only going to be there for a few minutes, and they just happened to see Long John before he got installed back into his kennel. And he moved to have a new home as an only dog, and he is well beloved. And the moral of that story is, if I'd have done the logical thing, if I would have waited, those people wouldn't have randomly seen John, and I'm not sure how long he would have had to spend in the kennel. And so that's my intuition story about Long John, and it's perfect timing because we have just arrived at tumbling practice, where I get to watch my grandkids have tumbling. Okay, bye for now.